Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, toxic relationship advice channel. Yes. And we're getting back into this sleazeball again. Well, they went to phase 2, day 1. And in phase 2 was very interesting because we get to hear a psychological report. Clinical forensic psychologist. So I'm going to play that clip. And then also we found out today, well, he didn't get the death penalty, but he got life in prison. I think I'm pretty good with that one. I'm not that crazy about death penalty, but some people do. I mean, each his own whatever. But he's never going to be able to walk the streets again. He's done. He's completely done. Completely done. And then also I'm going to play some people's impact statement, but some of the impact statement I couldn't really hear because they was on Zoom. It was something wrong. I don't know exactly what the deal was. But all right, we're going to get into this one. And first I want to start off is, what are the 3 symptoms of antisocial personality disorder? Just like I said about him, this man is definitely a sociopath. He has sociopath and narcissism. Okay. Symptoms. Be able to act witty and charming. Isn't that what we've been hearing? All right. Be good at flattery and manipulating other people's emotions. Isn't that him? Break the law repeatedly. Yeah, they don't follow rules. Like, you're not supposed to mess with a minor. All right. Disregard the safety of self and others. Have problems with substance misuse. Lie, steal, fight often. Not show guilt or remorse, which we know he don't have no guilt or remorse because you remember when he was discussing it when he was under the wiretap. He really didn't have no remorse. It was about him. How was he going to get away? This can't happen to him, right? All right. Often be angry or arrogant, because it's kind of covered here. Often be angry or arrogant. All right, so we're going to get into this clip now. Let's hear what the psychologists have to say. And then we're going to get right into it. But what you do is make sure you hit the like button, share me out on your social media, and also leave some feedback. Tell me your thoughts and opinions about it. Did you want him to get the death penalty or not? Are you cool with this or whatever? What did you think of this trial? And etc., etc. And then also I'm going to do another clip. Like I said, I'm going to do the aunts, because one of the aunts was on the stand today. So I'm going to do the aunts another day, and I'm going to also do the body cam. No, the when he was under the wire. Yeah, one of those. Well, you just see. Just stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get it. And the speed is going to be on 1.25. First, we're going to start off with the psychologist, and then I'll play some of the impact statements. Let's get it.
Good afternoon, doctor. Come on forward to be sworn in by the clerk. Good afternoon, doctor. Let's watch your step as you come forward to your right. You need a glass of water. Let us know. We'll do our best to accommodate you.
Thank you.
That said, Mr. Davis, you may inquire at your ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Would you state your name for the court?
Jennifer Rohrer, R-O-H-R-E-R.
Where are you employed?
I'm self-employed as a clinical and forensic psychologist in the states of Florida and Virginia.
Okay. And can you tell the court what your educational background is, please.
Sure. My highest degree obtained is a PhD in clinical psychology from Kent State University, followed by a pre-doctoral internship in forensic psychology at Florida State Hospital, followed by a postdoctoral residency in forensic psychology at Georgia Regional Hospital in Savannah.
Okay? And after you completed your education, where were you employed after that?
Many places. I started off as a forensic psychologist at South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice, doing post-adjudication evaluations of juveniles. I also worked at Dorothea Dix State Hospital, which is one of the oldest forensic hospitals in the United States, also as a forensic psychologist. Moved to Washington, D.C., where I worked for D.C. Superior Court as a forensic psychologist. Also taught at George Washington University in their forensic psychology program, and also developed and ran a forensic psychology program as department chair at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. During that time, I also assisted with the Alexandria Police Department, teaching police officers how to interact with people with mental illness. I then relocated to Florida in 2016 and have been in private practice since that time.
Okay? And how many times have you testified in court?
About 300.
Okay? And have you also worked on other cases of this nature?
I had to pause. You got me cracking up. Good Karma says, good evening. I'm not hiding in the bushes tonight. Well, welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you out the bushes tonight. Glad to have you here. Okay, Amber, I got you. Got you, girl. All right, let's resume. This is The Psychologist, and the speed is on 1.25. If anybody's new to my channel, I love to hear psychological evaluations about these nutcases because you get to learn a lot about them. That's why I love to hear these things. All right, let's get it.
Capital cases and homicides?
I have, yes.
How many of those?
Maybe between 50 and 75.
And how often do you render an expert opinion?
In court or just for an evaluation?
Any evaluations, how many have you done?
I've conducted over 7,000 evaluations in the course of my career.
And how many opinions have you rendered in court?
Well, about 300 when I've testified.
Judge, I'd offer Dr. Rohrer as an expert in psychology.
There's been no objection, so continue.
Okay? Thank you. All right, ma'am, did you have an occasion to go or occasions to go and meet with Johnathan Quiles?
I did.
Okay? And as going over there and meeting with Mr. Quiles, what is part of your process as far as going through and preparing an evaluation and psychological eval?
Sure. So I review all the available legal documents with which I'm provided. I met with Mr. Quiles a total of 3 times for about 4 hours at the jail. I collected background information from him in terms of family, educational, employment, mental health, substance use, and criminal history. I also conducted a mental status examination to identify or observe any possible signs of mental illness or intellectual disability or psychiatric impairment. We also did some psychological testing. I administered a brief IQ test and also a personality assessment inventory. And then I wrote up a report after speaking with his aunt.
Okay. Now, in going through this, some of the factors that you take into consideration, I know you said you went over all the police reports and evaluation, or police reports and all of the evidence that was provided to you as best you could. Now, after speaking with his aunt, what were some of the factors that you came to use in doing this?
Are you asking the factors that I felt most relevant in the case?
Yes.
Yes. So based on his self-report and speaking with his aunt, I learned that he had been raised in a high-crime, poverty area of New York, that his mother suffered from mental illness, and also, I'm sorry, his wife, I apologize, his wife suffered from mental illness and substance abuse. His mother passed away in 2010.
So the wife that I showed that was on the stand says she suffers from mental illness and substance abuse. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's get back to it. Well, not his wife, his ex-wife now. Sleazeball's ex-wife now. Resume.
From bone cancer. I think that Her death was extremely challenging and hard for him. They were very close, and he described himself as a mama's boy. I learned from his aunt, and Mr. Quiles confirmed that his dad was largely absent from his life, and when he was present, he was a negative influence. I believe Mr. Quiles referred to him as a schemester. I believe his dad had a pretty extensive criminal background, from what I understand. And then also he reported a history of childhood physical abuse by one of his mother's former boyfriends.
Okay. Did he also self-report drug use?
He did.
Why did I wasn't surprised when I heard that. I said somewhere along his childhood he was physically abused. Oh boy. See what we be doing to our children? When you beat on them, you mistreat them, don't be around them, they turn out to be monsters like this. This is it. This is when they turn out to be monsters like this. Oh boy. Reason. Not saying I have sympathy for him because what he did was wrong. But your childhood has a big effect of your future. Reason.
Told me that he began using marijuana, it was at age 11, and had used alcohol regularly since age 13 or 14. He did suggest that the alcohol abuse was encouraged by his family, that it was normative in his family to be drinking a lot.
Okay. And also, as part of your assessment, can you tell the court when or what his school and education was?
Sure. He withdrew from the 7th grade following the birth of his first child. And that was the highest grade he attained. So he completed the 6th grade.
Okay. And did he become gainfully employed after that?
He did. By all accounts, he's maintained employment and has been successful at all of the jobs that he's been at. Lastly, at the junkyard.
Okay. And did he tell you some of the jobs that he held?
He did. He said not only did he work at the junkyard, but he had previously also worked in construction, maintenance, and as a truck driver.
And as part of your assessment?
You know what? I'm glad that you brought this up. You know what? Let's change. I don't really know. Because I remember they did say he had more than one wife, right? So it might not be the one that I showed understanding. They're talking about the substance and drug abuse. Might be talking about his ex-wife. I'm glad that you put that comment out, SLX. I don't want to be giving out wrong information, especially something like that. Oh my gosh. So we're not sure, but he did have a wife. I don't know if that's the wife that we see on the stand that was had the substance and, abuse. Or was it the past wife? Not sure. She doesn't really give too much detail because, they just trying to rush her off. All right, let's get back to it.
Assessment, you said you did an IQ test. What were the results of that?
He obtained a full scale IQ of 90, which falls in the average range.
Okay. And despite not having completed any school?
That's correct.
All right. Well, I shouldn't say any school, but moderate school. He didn't get through the high school.
Correct.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, as part of your assessment, in going over to the jail, what were some of the things that struck you as significant in meeting with him and going over his records?
Each time I went to the jail and signed in, I spoke with the officers, both in public reception, which is the entrance to the jail, and also up on the floor, on the 5th floor where he's been housed each time I've seen him. Every time I've gone there, numerous officers have told me he's been a model inmate, which is very surprising. They actually assigned him to be an alternate trustee, which again is highly unusual given the nature of his charges at the time. Even during lockdown, when the other inmates were locked in their cells and weren't allowed to come out, Mr. Quiles was given the opportunity to even clean the jail, even in the restricted areas where there were no cameras. To my knowledge, he never abused that privilege, and that suggests some level of trust by the correction officers that they could trust him to be around the jail, around phones, around possible contraband. And to my knowledge, he never took advantage of that because, to my knowledge, he has no disciplinary records, DRs. I also learned that he often read the Bible to those inmates who could not read, and that he helped care for some of the more vulnerable inmates at the jail.
Okay, and as far as when you say more of the vulnerable, can you expand on that? Or what you mean?
I was told that he had assisted some of the elderly inmates and also just less vulnerable, those that probably could not protect themselves from the more aggressive inmates in the jail.
Okay. Now, in
I paused a few times. Like I said, this is a teaching and a learning channel, so we have to learn from all this stuff. Okay. Then I say it here: the symptoms of an anti-personality disorder, other words, sociopath. Be able to act witty and charming. That's what he's doing in the jailhouse right now, right? Good at flattery and manipulating other people's emotions. See? This is what I'm talking about. This is what these sociopaths do. They're extremely charming. And a lot of sociopaths, they always have high positions at jobs because they usually work, they can work their way up. A lot of, cutting people's throats, stepping over people to get where they at. But they're very charming, witty, friendly. Yeah, that's him. I believe he's acting like what do you call him, a model inmate? Is that what they call him, model inmate? Yeah, whatever. That's all you're going to be there. Reason.
your years of doing this, is that pretty, I mean, I know you use the word rare, but, I mean, in your years, have you ever seen someone with a charge of this nature working as a trustee?
I have not. I was very shocked when he told me, and I did verify it because I was so surprised by that fact.
Okay. And how many years of you doing this have you been, or how many years have you been doing this?
Since 2005,
Okay. So 18 years?
about, yes.
Now, besides that, in speaking with his family, what were some of the other notable things that stood out as far as Mr. Quiles?
I spoke with his aunt. She described him as extremely generous with his time and assistance, always willing to help others. She described him as a very good father, a very hard worker, said that he would do anything to help anyone in the past and would continue to do so. She also noted that she felt, in her opinion, that a lot of his problems early on were due to the absence of his father. She indicated that they had reconciled somewhat prior to his arrest in this case, but she did feel that that was an absence in his life, that his father was not present.
Okay. Now, as part of your assessment, what is your overall thoughts of how he could be productive as an inmate if it were considered to be life?
I mean, I think he has shown over the past 5 years in the Duval County Jail that he hasn't violated the trust that the correction officers have given him as an alternate trustee. He's had no disciplinary action or reports. He has helped other inmates, particularly the elderly and the vulnerable. I feel as if in a structured environment, he could be as productive as one can be in a prison setting.
Okay, so as you state, in a structured environment, so in a setting such as that of at the state prison, then he could be a productive member as an inmate
Yes,
and be able to assist others.
I do believe that, yes.
Okay, and to be clear, life is that he has no opportunity of parole or anything else, correct?
Correct.
All right. And is there anything else that, in your review of his records and everything that you've gone through, that you feel would be notable for this court to consider and for this jury?
I don't think so. I think we've touched on everything that was part of my evaluation.
All right. Judge, if I may have a second with counsel. Just briefly, ma'am, in going over your assessment, you did what's called a PAI, a personality assessment inventory.
That's correct.
What is that for the court?
It's a personality test. It's probably the second most widely used personality test in the entire world. It assesses both personality characteristics, but also any type of psychopathology, so any types of mental health concerns ranging from depression to schizophrenia to insomnia to anxiety to substance use disorders. And then it also looks at those personality traits and how one interacts with the world and the people around them.
And as part of your assessment, what are your findings?
Based on the testing results, his testing results were valid, meaning he was genuine and honest in responding to the questions. His results did suggest a personality style or personality characteristics consistent with an antisocial attitude or tendency.
Which means what, if you don't mind, in layman's terms?
Sure. So his results are consistent with an antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder is a condition in which one's personality characteristics or traits are often maladaptive or unhealthy and impair functioning in a certain way. In this particular personality disorder, the antisocial, it's typically violating the rights of others. It could include criminal behavior, but it doesn't always need to be criminal behavior. It could be manipulation. There could be some arrogance, some entitlement, deceitfulness, if I didn't say that already. But we often think about it going along with criminal behavior.
Okay. And for lack of better words, narcissist?
Yes, narcissism.
Okay. Anything else?
The testing revealed conflictual interpersonal relationships, a lot of problems with interpersonal relationships based on the testing.
When you say that, can you give an example, please?
Sure. Again, this is based on testing, but based on the testing, which again was valid, it suggested that a lot of his relationships have a lot of conflict. He may be impulsive, egocentric, angry, may lash out at others in the context of those interpersonal relationships, may be very impulsive when he lashes out, feeling that he has been slighted in some way.
Okay. And as a result of that, most of his relationships don't last a long period of time. Would that be accurate?
I'm sorry, could you ask that again?
Do most of his relationships only last for a short period of time? Or conflict in the relationships?
I mean, based on the testing, his relationships, whether they're short or long, tend to.
What I know is about with sociopath, usually they don't have long relationships because they get bored very easily. You know, they don't really stay with a person for too long. They can or whatever, put up a mask, but believe me, they got someone else on the side because you done bored them. They just keep you around because it's something that you have that they want, that you're feeding them with. If I'm making sense here, hopefully I am. All right, let's get back to it.
To be characterized by high conflict.
All right. Nothing else, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Just a few follow-up questions for you. Ma'am, now you saw the defendant on 3 occasions. Is that what you testified to?
Correct.
Yes, ma'am. And doctor, did you see him on June 28, 2023?
Correct.
June 29, 2023?
Correct.
And July 21, 2023?
Correct.
So you first saw him approximately 90 days ago. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you'd never seen him prior to June 28, 2023?
No, I have not.
Hadn't talked to any correctional officers about him all the way back to 2019, 2020, 2021, or 2022?
No, never.
The only ones you talked to were during the 90 days or so that you met him?
Yes, when I went in to check in and see Mr. Quiles.
Okay. And in fact, you authored your report on August 23rd, 2023, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And if your last visit was July 21 of 2023, that means you really only were at the jail talking to correctional officers between June 28 and July 21 of 2023, correct?
Yes.
So about 30 days of a sample size is your testimony with respect to who you talked to over there?
Well, those are the times I spoke with the officers.
Sure. You looked at records as well.
I'm sorry?
You looked at records as well, correct?
I did, yes.
Okay. Now, your 3 visits also included a total of about 4 hours you sat down with him?
That's correct.
Did you listen to the 2-hour wire that the jury heard where he was corresponding with 2 other inmates?
Unfortunately, no,
You never heard any of that?
I did not.
Now, you told us you interviewed one other family member, and that was an aunt. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
You didn't talk to any other family members?
No, he asked me to speak to his aunt.
All right, that's where I was going next. Did he only ask you to speak to his aunt?
Yes.
Now, ma'am, you also kind of went over some of the testing that you did. Did he tell you as part of your testing or in your interview process that he had 5 different children?
Yes, he did.
All right. And did he say that those marriages failed due to his infidelity?
He said the first one failed due to infidelity on his part.
All right. And he also told you he left school after the 7th grade during his 7th grade year, correct?
Withdrew from the 7th, correct.
All right. And he did that because he had his first child?
That's what he said, yes.
Now, you agree.
7th grade, that's middle school, and he had his first child? Dang. And he dropped out? I didn't know you can drop out of middle school. I thought by law you have to go. And if you don't go, they'll put your parents in jail, or they'll take the kids out and make them go to school. One of those detention schools or whatever you call it. Someone help me out on that one. Let me know. Because I didn't think you can sign yourself out that early out of school. I know somewhere in high school you can, I think. I forgot what grade it is. But just let me know in the chat or the people's watching replay. I'm curious on that one. All right, let's get back with the psychologist. Clinical forensic psychologist. Reason.
You did not diagnose him with any kind of mental illness. You agree with that?
So technically personality disorders are classified as mental illnesses according to the American Psychological Association, but they are distinct from mental illnesses that we think of like a bipolar disorder or a schizophrenia or a depression.
Okay.
They're different. They're qualitatively different.
Isn't antisocial personality disorder basically characterized by disregard of other people?
Yes.
That was your diagnosis of him.
I actually diagnosed him with a mixed or an unspecified personality disorder because I saw features of both antisocial and narcissistic personality disorder. So the two of them combined.
Now, but you also saw no history, either in records or in your interviews with him, of any kind of depression,
No,
suicidal ideology.
no.
And did you inquire of him about whether he entered a substance abuse program at age 15?
I did.
What did he say about that?
He told me that he voluntarily admitted himself to a 2-year substance abuse treatment program at age 15 to get away from his family, his neighborhood, just to get away.
All right. Now, doctor, do you agree the defendant is fully oriented?
Yes, absolutely.
You agree he's friendly,
Yes,
engaging?
yes,
He has the thought processes that are coherent and relevant?
he does.
He's not distracted by any kind of internal stimuli?
Correct.
He's not delusional, correct?
He is not.
You believe he is adequate with respect to attention and concentration issues?
Yes,
He has no memory issues, correct?
correct.
No intellectual disabilities of any kind?
No.
In fact, you've described him as being average, correct? With
Yes.
respect to his testing.
Yes,
Now, you chose in your testing to give this PAI, that's a personality assessment test?
it is.
All right. Is that where you glean the personalities that you described at the end of your direct examination?
Are you referring to the diagnoses?
Yes, ma'am.
The diagnoses are based in part on testing, but also on one's history and also current presentation.
Well, one of those you said was, quote, conflictual interpersonal relationships, end quote.
Yes.
That's how you described them.
Well, yes, that was based on the testing.
Okay, and what does that mean?
Conflictual relationships,
Yes, ma'am.
one having trouble in interpersonal relationships. It could mean a variety of things. The testing, and I did mention this briefly a couple minutes ago, according to psychological testing, his conflictual relationships are because, in my opinion, because of his maladaptive personality traits of being hostile and impulsive and egocentric, entitled.
So that includes interpersonal relationships with significant others,
Sure,
not just immediate family members like his father or his mother.
yes.
Any relationship.
I would say most, if not all, yes.
All right, and I think if I heard you correctly, you described him as impulsive. Is that correct?
Yes,
Self-centered,
yes.
hostile,
Can be, yes.
and also I think you testified that he lashes out impulsively against one who slights him. Is that correct?
Based on testing, yes.
You described him as egocentric,
Yes,
hostile.
can be.
I think you said angry as well.
I did.
Now, does the testing show you that he externalizes blame? And if so, will you explain that?
I don't know if that was specific in the testing, but that kind of falls under antisocial personality disorder. Typically, those with that personality disorder and the other personality disorder, narcissism, they tend to externalize blame, project blame. It's someone else's fault.
All right, now that was my next question. That's somebody who describes situations as not his own fault, not of his own doing.
Correct.
And that's how you describe the defendant.
He does externalize blame, yes.
One moment, Your Honor. Nothing further, Your Honor, thank you.
Just briefly, Dr. Rohrer, now, despite those issues that you just went over with the state, as well as with myself earlier, Johnathan Quiles can be a productive member as an inmate if he were to be considered for life, correct?
I believe so. I believe he has shown that by what I've learned about his behavior at the jail, and again, no disciplinary action. Now, whether his behavior in the jail is altruistic, meaning he truly wants to help others, or whether he's satisfying his own narcissism, I don't think that matters. I do think he's demonstrated for 5 years in the Duval County Jail that he can go without getting into trouble, breaking their trust, breaking the law, getting new charges. So yes, I do think he can conform his behavior despite what motivation that might be.
Okay, and to be clear, have you ever seen someone with these type of charges be a trustee?
I have not, no.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Doctor, good to see you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Rest of your day.
You too.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Michelle, you can call your dad, please.
Okay, we're gonna take a little break before we get into the other one because I want to read these comments real quick. But let me set up the next one. Yeah, let's show this one. Let's see what she have to say. This was, I don't know why I have the feeling he slept with this woman, but I could be wrong. These are my thoughts and opinions, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let me go back to some of these comments, all right? I have to put music on. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I had to have music. Okay, let's get back to the comments. I was asking the question about you signing out of school. That's kind of early for him. That was middle school. I didn't think a kid could, you could sign you out. And even if parents want to sign you out, you can't, right? SLX said, wonder if Naomi, that we're talking about the last wife, notice any of these personality traits of his. That's a good question. I wonder, did she notice? And some people, they really don't if they're not educated about this. And I'm glad you brought that up. This is something I always say on my channel, and I have another channel I deal with more of. I talk about narcissism and sociopath from my other channel. And one thing I always say is you have to educate and teach your kids about these personality disorders, because these narcissists, sociopath, the whole cluster B personality disorder, narcissists, antisocial personality disorders, sociopaths, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality, and psychopaths. Your kids is going to bump up with these people, either in the workplace, dating, friends, family, or whatever. So they need to be educated about this. They don't teach you this in school. And let them know you're going to deal with people who have different personalities, and these are the traits to watch out for, especially in the dating, or any kind of interaction with people. All right, so let's get back at it. All right, what else was the other one? 603 said, Donna, he couldn't. Okay, why'd you say that? All right. SLX said truancy, right? Yeah. You get in trouble, right? You're not supposed to do that. That's why I was thrown off by that one. All right. 603 also said something else. In the state of Kansas, they have to stay in school or the parents are charged. That's what I know of. You can't, they're a child. They can't just do that. All right. Melvia said they tried that in California, but only made it harder on the taxpayers. Foster care is expensive. Okay. Ivila says cheaters usually have sociopathic traits. Yep. They definitely know to cheat. I don't know. No sociopath, male or female, that's faithful. They have extremely high sex drives. Okay, they get bored easily. They risk takers, so condoms is definitely not their style. They be not saying if a guy say, oh, I don't want to use a condom, I want to use a condom, they automatically a sociopath. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is they risk takers. They just impulsive. They don't care. They just want to get the sex. They just want to do it. They're not thinking about what could be the consequence afterwards. Somebody catching STD or somebody getting pregnant. No, they don't care. It's just they live for the moment. That's just about it. All right. And TB, welcome. All right, what Iyana also says, they live different lives and lie to everyone. Oh yeah, sociopath, lies. Everything comes out their mouths is lies. Storytellers, lies. They just won't stop. They just don't. All right. What does? There go my co-host, the real Jack Newtown. Oh, Jack, they didn't give him the death penalty, but basically life in prison. And no possible parole, no possibility of parole. I think something like that. All right. What does Karma says here? It seemed like he was able to manipulate women based on his looks. Yup. I'm not trying to be funny. Music sociopaths, some attractive people. They keep themselves well groomed because they know they can charm people like that. Ooh, but the women is worse. Oh Lord, I don't want to get into that one. All right, what else? Does anyone know the penalty? If I'm correct, the penalty is he's no death penalty. He's just gonna get life in prison. But I guess the judge has to make a sentencing. I didn't see the ending, but I just wanted to focus on today with the psychological evaluation. I always get into that one. All right, let me see. Maybe he told people that he was being homeschooled because he is very smart. Jones, you have a point. We got a point. Never know. All right, let's see what Ivilla had to say. I think Naomi loved the way he looked. I think so too. I think everybody crossing, they just get caught up in the looks. Yep, get caught up in the looks. You know what I'm saying? The devil comes in pretty packages, doesn't he? Pretty packages. Yes, it does. All right. So I wanted that too. And Purple, good evening. Glad to have you here. Salute to you too. And Kendall.
So the piss mouth slickster got life.
Let me change. I want to make sure everybody hear you. Just in case they can't. Okay, sir. What were you saying again?
So basically the piss mouth slickster got life.
Yeah. I wonder who's gonna be braiding his hair in jail. Okay, in prison. Hello, Donna Mars.
More like he need to be worried about the toothpaste on top of his head.
Ooh. Yeah, he's done. And good evening to you too. Glad to have you here. What else Purple said? Oh, say hello. All right, so we're going to get into another clip here. All right, what are we going to focus on? Give me a second. I got to find it. Because I wanted. Oh, I did find it. Yeah, I did find it, right? Yeah, I did that before. My bad. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's hear what this lady has to say. Now, oh gosh, I think this is the mother's best friend. Yeah, and it's something about the way she was acting. These are my thoughts and opinions, ladies and gentlemen. I think he done hit that. Yeah, I said it. All right, let's get to it. Let's hear what she has to say.
Ma'am, good afternoon to you. Just watch your step as you come forward. If you need a glass of water, Mr. Gray and staff will certainly accommodate you.
Thank you.
With that said, Mr. Davis, you may inquire. You're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You remember the brother said that, right? He did. Remember his brother said that he would have outlandish lies all the time. Sociopath. They just lie. They just lie over a lie. I don't understand. It's just addiction with them. That's one of the biggest signs that you're dealing with a sociopath. They lie over lie. I mean, they just love the stupidest things. It's just fun to them. I don't know. I think it's just to them, it's like just to know that they can manipulate you, make you think something that isn't there. That's just how they are. Oh well, his sociopath, narcissistic days is over. All right, let's resume.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Would you state your name for our jury, please?
My name is Karen Gaines.
All right. And where do you reside, ma'am?
I reside in Orange Park.
Okay. And how do you know Johnathan Quiles?
I know Johnathan Quiles through my best friend,
Which is who?
which is his aunt,
And who's that, please?
Paulette.
Okay. And how long have you known Johnathan?
I've known Johnathan since he's moved here. I'm not exactly sure how many years he's been here. However, I want to say maybe around 13 years.
Okay. And in the time that you've known him, how often do you interact with Johnathan?
I interacted with him mostly through family gatherings,
Being what kind of gatherings?
cookouts, holidays. Just, if we just get together and decide to do something.
Okay. And what does Johnathan come to mean to you?
Johnathan, he means a lot to me. He's a very caring person. When I went through a hard time, with a divorce, and he was very encouraging to me, and I was really distraught. So he would help me. He would just say stuff like, read this in the Bible and that you're a good person and God will bless you and it's that person's loss and not yours. So he was very encouraging during that time.
Did he help you in any way during the course of those times if you needed it?
No, I didn't need any help with anything, just encouragement.
Okay. So he was there for your emotional support as needed?
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything else you'd like the court to know about your time or what you know of Johnathan?
Okay. I recall a time when they lived off of MLK, and they had he had set up a nice campground in their backyard, and he had the neighborhood kids and my godson. We dropped my godson off over there, and he did an overnight stay for the children, and they just had a great time. He taught them how to box. They roasted marshmallows on the campfire, and he did this mostly by himself.
Okay. So
I know the mailroom is going to be full with him. See, I don't understand these women out here. They just got a thing for these convicts, these serial killers, murderers. I don't understand. Yep, his commissary is going to be full, and he's going to get lots of letters. And I think she's going to be one of the people that send him letters too. And I was surprised he had quite a few people speaking for him today. Quite a few people. Enablers. Are you kidding me? Did you watch the trial?
Look,
Did you see
like I
that?
said, if it was, I'm just gonna keep it real. If it was extremely dark skinned, nappy headed brother, I don't think he would get this type of support for the same crime.
Interesting. Let's presume. Yep. She's gonna be sending him letters. I would love to speak to whoever sorts the mail. You ain't gotta tell me the names, but just how many letters from females does he get? How many? How many people with commissary? Just like Ham Hock, there's gonna be some disabled looking woman, low self-esteem. She's gonna be writing letters to Ham Hock. Lord have mercy. Oh, and especially the other case that I covered. That guy, he killed his side chick that was that had his baby. Oh my God, I can't remember his name all of a sudden. You just have to go back to my past commissary. Oh, he's going to get lots of letters too. Oh well, let's get back to it. You want to bet he was messing with them kids too. Because what I hear so much about that he always was the cook and be around the kids and have them around. Because he's grooming, picking out which piece of fruit he wants to take. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I even said it like that. Jeez, that's not right. All right, let's resume.
You know him as a very caring and loving person.
Yes.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like the court to know?
Just in general, I admired the fact that, when he participated in church, he was, whatever his pastor asked him to do, he was willing and able to do it. And if he didn't know how, he would Google it or look it up on YouTube to figure out how to repair something, fix something. So it really didn't matter what it was. He was just willing to do it.
And did you know him as a hardworking person?
Very hardworking, yes.
To the best of your knowledge, he provided for his family and children.
Yes, he did. His daughter was amazing. She really loved her dad. She loved her dad a lot.
Is there anything else, ma'am?
Well, I had a lot to say, but I can't remember at the moment. But yes.
I don't have anything further, Your Honor.
No cross, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Gaines, good to see you, ma'am. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay, break time. I want to go back. Abby had something to say. Abby Lane, welcome. Glad to have you here. Hi, Donna. I agree about her may have gotten with him. In school, they want to teach, this stuff to our children, which my opinion, they will learn that soon enough. Exactly. But not the sociopathics and the narcissists. Exactly. And you need to learn about them because they, narcissists and sociopaths, they don't discriminate. I mean, they come in all nationalities, all sex, all religions, all height, whatever, all locations, all ages. They come in all ages. So this is something that needs to be taught about these personality disorders because you're going to come across them. Even as a parent, you go to parent-teacher conference, you might come across that the teacher is a narcissist, a sociopath, yeah, or the principal could be. The corner store that you go and buy your milk and eggs from, your teacher, at the professor at your college, your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, they all over the place. And people need to be educated about them. And we need to talk to our children about them to know the signs of what they're dealing with. But no, not teaching them. Just have to stumble across it. All right, what was I up to? Okay. Oh, well, I was talking about the letters. Listen, if he would have looked like Stinking Dinkins, none of this would have happened. Good karma, you coming strong. I can't. Okay, Goodell says Andrea is going to be writing letters to Henry. Oh yeah, she gonna write some letters. Unless they gave her something, they told her you can't write and communicate. I don't know. But in her heart, oh, she want to write to her ham hock. Okay. Abby says, I love your show. Blessings. Thank you. He may be a wonderful person, but that is not what he is in court for. Exactly. It's like these people overlooking it. Yeah. All right. Let's see who's the next person today. Let's get to the next person on the stand. Oh, let's check this dude out. He's a character. Okay. Yeah, he speaks highly of him too. All right, but I mean, they have their rights to feel what they feel, just like we have our rights to feel what we feel. It is what it is. All right, let's get back to it.
All right, sir, come over here to your right. Watch your step as you come forward. If you need a glass of water, let us know. Mr. Gray and the staff will certainly accommodate you. And you can use that microphone to help project your voice out to the rest of the courtroom. With that said, Mr. Davis, you may inquire. You're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Kenneth Bear.
Okay, and where do you live, Mr. Berry? Where do you live?
Um,
Area of town?
on Merrill Road.
Okay, so the Arlington area?
Yes.
All right. And how do you know Johnathan Quiles?
He's my cousin, but he's like my brother. I've known him all my life.
All your life?
All my life.
Okay.
We got a new one on board. Oh, I just absolutely love your avatar. Oh my God, this is too cute with the cat with the Bosco. Oh, it's just too cute. Hey Donna, new subscriber here, and welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. Yep. This case is a mess, isn't it? And like I said, stay tuned. I got 3 more videos to do. Even though this trial's like over, no, I'm not done. We're gonna get into the aunties, and we're gonna get into the body cam, and we're gonna get into that wiretap. I'm gonna do the wiretap Wednesday. Yes, the wiretap Wednesday. All right, resume.
And for those of us that don't know you that well, how old are you, sir?
18.
All right. And, sir, when you say you've known him all your life, can you tell the court and the jury, how has he been there for you?
As far as I can remember, he's always been there. Like, there's never been a time where he was not involved. He was always involved with everything we did. Like, if my mom needed him, he would be there, like, with 10 minutes tops. You know, he was always like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, over the years, when you were in junior high and high school, if you needed something, was he there for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, definitely.
Providing rides to and from places?
Yeah. Well,
Did you participate in sports?
yeah.
Did he take you to and from sports?
He did for a certain point. Yeah, he did.
All right. I see you smiling and getting happy about that. Does that bring back good memories for you?
It does. I'm not gonna lie. It does.
All right. Was he there to support you in the sporting events that he did and the things that you participated in?
Yes, sir. He did. He was. Yeah. He was very involved in my sport. Actually, when I first started playing sports, he was one of the people that were like most adamant about coming. Hey, like, you know, let me be there. Give me the schedule, and I'm gonna be there. And he made almost every game.
Okay. Specifically, what sports?
Around like when I first started playing basketball, he came, but like mainly around like soccer, you know, things like that. When I first started playing soccer, he was like bring me to and from games. He came, and then when I first started playing basketball, he brought me to a couple of games, but he came to some of those.
Did he also encourage you to make sure you made good grades in school?
Yeah, he said that was the first thing. You know, basketball and sports was one thing, but school could take you a long way. That's what he used to tell me.
And specifically, did he tell you to make sure that you got an education because he didn't have one?
Yeah, he made emphasis on the fact that like due to his mistakes, he always told me, like, you know, like, learn from this, because I was there. So because of that, he's always put emphasis on education in school.
And was he also encouraging you to make sure that you could go to college?
Yeah, he told me college is a must. He was one of the main people that told.
He murdered a pregnant woman, young lady, that he was messing with. That was his wife's niece. And these people put him on a darn pedestal. Never heard of such a thing. Wow. Nobody's saying, I thought he was a great guy, but I didn't know he was wearing a mask. And Ivilla said something too. Yeah, I didn't know about narcissism until recently. Yep. And it's sad we don't learn about it until later on. We start realizing with people and dating, and it's like, what the heck? And then we start doing our research. We're like, whoa, you were dealing with this. Yep. All right, let's get back to it.
Told me that college is a must. Like, you have to go to college because, you know, and graduate from college as well.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the court about your uncle, as far as, in addition to the support and things that he helped support you in?
Yeah, he's really just a jack of all trades. He was all he could any spots that you could fit him in, he would fit and strive in it. You know, but other than that, he was like very, very simple, very, you know, like he loves his.
I believe what he's saying, because I haven't known one narcissist or sociopath that can't wear many hats. They're all over the place. Yep. And what they like to do is copy and mimic people. That's what they do. They steal different people's personalities. Yes, they do. Resume.
His kids, he loves everybody he comes in contact with. You know what I'm saying?
How many kids does he have?
I believe he has around like 4, 5, around.
Was he active in his children's lives?
Yes, very, very active in his children's life. He made sure that.
Did he encourage them the same way he encouraged you?
Yes, whenever his kids would come over and I would be around, he would always have us in the same little thing. And he would just talk to us saying, you know what I'm saying, this is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. Make sure you never do this. You know, always strive to do, good. Yeah.
Was his focus on making sure that they were a better person?
Yes. He always aimed to make other people around him better.
I may have a second, Your Honor.
Of course.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the court about Mr. Quiles?
That's about it.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any cross from the state?
No questions from the state.
Sir, good to see you. Have a good rest of your day.
If I could just
Break time. Okay, before we get to the next person, let me go back here. Oh, and I see you, Jackie. Blessings, blessings. All right, Melvia said something here. He only went to the games to be around young people. Living his life through that young man. And he doesn't get it. He'll probably get it old. He's young. He doesn't know too much about it because at that age, I didn't know nothing about narcissists and sociopaths. I just know there was something wrong with certain people. Why you don't have no empathy? I just told you the person had a car crash and wrecked their whole car and they're in the hospital and they'll kind of smile, like kind of chuckle, or they don't feel anything. I said, well, Dad, what's wrong with you? Then as I started to realize, oh, you're dealing with a person with that personality disorder. They don't have no empathy. They don't care. Yep, they don't care. But they'll come to the hospital, act like they so much care and they so sad and everything. Yeah, huh? Yep. Amber also said they acting like he's not a. Yeah, I don't get it either. Yeah. I don't know. Did they watch the trial? Did they watch it? Yep. TB, thank you. I made correction. She wasn't a woman. She was a child. Yes, she was. Purple says, thank you so much, Donna, for covering this case. You're exactly 100% right. These conversations need to be had with our youngsters. Exactly. Thank you for agreeing with me. It's imperative to educate them. Yes. And if anybody's here who's grandparents, if you got grandchildren, educate them. You talk to your grandchildren. Your auntie, you got nieces and nephews, talk to them. You an uncle, you got nieces and nephews, talk to them. It's not too late. Oh, well, they're older. Why am I talking to them? No, just talk to them. Give them examples. There's plenty of shows out here. You can, movies or whatever, YouTube videos. You can educate them. Yeah. So many parents don't want to do it, They don't want to do it. Or maybe your parent is a narcissist, sociopath. Oh, Lord. Kay! Yes, dealing with narcissists is life-changing, and my ex is in jail now for trying to unalive. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. You said jail. You didn't say prison. Is this man going to be coming out? Or are you going through trial? I hope he's locked up for life, because if he try to unalive you, he don't need to be walking these streets. Oh my gosh. Your ex. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, prayers to you. And everybody put some prayer hands up for her, because due to the fact is that he never come back around her again. Never comes back around. Put prayer hands, please, everybody. Thank you for sharing that. That monster, low-life piece of crap. Melvia says, excuse me, everybody. Now he can tell them not to get a teenager pregnant and kill her. Melvia, wait till Wednesday when I play the wiretap. He talks like it's just nothing. He had to get rid of her. He couldn't get caught. This is insane. Exactly. Love him in jail. Okay. What Lisa says, sorry. Yeah, that's so sad. Oh gosh. All right. Melvie says, Kay, make sure that they tell you when he gets out. Oh yes. Call all the time, periodically. I don't know however it is. Call, contact, and find out. Um, take it to the governor or something or whatever. Write a letter to the governor because you need to be protected. And they don't protect us. No, they don't. They don't. So it's too late, unfortunately. Kay says, waiting for his trial. Oh, so okay, you wait for this trial. This is what we deal with, and some don't take it seriously. That's so true. If you can, you see my email. You can email me whenever you like. If you don't mind, keep me posted. The trial and everything and what's going on. If you don't mind, if it's okay, I don't mean to pry into because I know it's hard to discuss that and everything. But we all praying for you that everything goes into your favor, and he never gets to walk the streets again. The nerve of him to decide whose life supposed to live. Now I'm so sick and tired of these clowns over here making a decision. Oh, I don't like the person no more. I'm just gonna end their life. Oh, I'm not happy about living no more. I hate my life. I'm just gonna kill everybody around me. Who are you? Who are you? Just do what you want to do. Write a letter, go somewhere, mind your business, and do you. Don't take everybody else. Thank you, everybody, putting their prayer in hands. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next person. Who's the next person we're gonna go to? I don't think we're gonna hear this person because I wasn't hearing it before, but I'm on another. Let's see if we can hear anything.
This is calling a witness who's present on Zoom, and so you should be able to see on the monitors in front of you. But that's Miss Michelle, the defense
Yeah, it
call
seems like
second
the
witness.
Zooms we
Yeah,
don't
Carter,
hear
thank you.
them,
If I could
but
next
this is a
call
different channel.
Vanessa
May they have
Verstetti.
it.
Verstetti.
You raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you.
Ma'am, if you could please start by introducing yourself to the jury. And Ms. Verstetti, how do you know Johnathan Quiles? And what's the relationship between your mother and Mr. Quiles' mother? And Ms. Verstetti, where do you currently reside? And is that where you are currently? Ma'am, you said you've known Mr. Quiles since birth. What have you known about Mr. Quiles as a person?
Yep, there's no sound here. I'm gonna fast forward to the
What
next
can you
person.
provide to the jury as it relates
All we're
to
gonna hear is
Mr.
her
Quiles'
questions.
background, his upbringing that you were there for?
Okay, Kay.
Yeah, any information you want the jury to know about his background and upbringing.
I really wanted to hear this. Darn it, Zoom not working. All right, let me fast forward. We're gonna go to the next person because I'm at a different channel. I thought maybe they had it different, but it's the Zoom. That's it. Let's see if the next person's any better. We can hear. All right.
Raise your right hand, please.
Her audio's not connected.
Okay, 1 second, Judge.
Maybe you can send her a chat.
Wait, there we are. Can you hear us? Yeah. Right, there we are.
Ma'am, will you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you so much. If you could please start by introducing yourself to the jury. And Ms. Quiles, how are you related to Mr. Quiles, Johnathan Quiles? Okay. And I was going to ask, sorry about that. Thank you. And who is your father to Mr. Quiles? Thank you. Ma'am, can you tell us how long you've known Mr. Quiles? And can you tell us what Mr. Quiles means to you?
Okay, there's no sound here. All right, let's see who the next person is. Oh, that
Ma'am,
person
I forgot to
has
ask you this
sound.
at the beginning, but where do you currently
Let's see if
reside?
this guy, we can hear something.
Sir, will you raise your right hand, please?
Mr. Pugh, can you hear her? All right, just pay attention to your screen and look at Madam Clerk. She's going to swear you in before your questioning begins.
Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, sir. If you could please introduce yourself to the jury. And Mr. Pugh, where are you currently located? Sir, if you could please provide how you're related to Mr. Quiles. I'm sorry, you said you're his cousin? Okay, have you known him your whole life? Can you tell us about how your occasions to be around Mr. Quiles? Yeah, how often would you be around Mr. Quiles? Yes, throughout the time that you've known him.
Okay, no sound with him we can get, but we know that's the cousin.
Mr. Pugh, what do you know of Mr. Quiles that you'd like to share with the jury today?
Well, we don't hear you. All right, now this one I think played. Let's listen to this one.
If
Okay.
you're done with it, I'm done with it.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, we can next call Paula Burett. Paulette Burett.
Yep, the brother wasn't having it. Melvia says, seems like the whole family is crazy except for the brother. Yeah, the brother wasn't having it. He's like, oh no, I'm not going to condone this. He calls me up. What do you think I'm going to support? I'm going to support you because you're my little brother. Are you kidding me? Delusional. All right, resume.
Ma'am, good afternoon to you. Just watch your step as you come forward. You need a glass of water, let us know. Mr. Gray will certainly help you out in that regard.
Thank you.
That said, Ms. Michelle, you may inquire. You're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. If you could start by just introducing yourself to the jury, please.
My name is Paulette Vidouet.
And Ms. Violette, can you please tell us how you know Mr. Johnathan Quiles?
Johnathan is my nephew/son,
And ma'am, you've known him his whole life?
his whole life.
And can you tell me how what the relation is as far as you being his aunt? Who are you related to in his family?
I am his mother's youngest sister, his late mother.
Okay. Ma'am, can you tell us a little bit about Mr. Quiles' relationship with his mom first?
Oh my God. They had such a special bond. He loved her. He was crazy about his mother. He loved everything about his mother. His mother was an amazing woman to him.
What about his relationship with his father?
That was rocky. For a long time, it was rocky. There was a lot of sadness there. But when he got older, he forgave him. They worked on a relationship together, and everything was okay. Nothing further after that. They just mend whatever was broken, and he visited them, He stood with them a couple of months, I believe, and then he went back home.
As far as their relationship currently, let me start with his mom first. You mentioned his late mother. Tell me about when she passed or that situation.
She had cancer.
And when did she pass?
She passed 13 years ago in December.
And how did Mr. Quiles take that?
Oh, that was really hard for him. Him and his mother were inseparable. He was her caretaker.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. You were saying
He was her caretaker.
and did they live together during that time period?
I believe he was living with her at her first diagnosis, and then he took care of her, and then later she was supposed to be in remission, so he tried to do his own thing, but she was really never in remission. She was diagnosed incorrectly, so then he had to come back and take care of her.
And then during that time, was he the sole caretaker of his mother when she was
Yes.
ill?
Yes,
And you said that it was rough after she passed.
it was rough.
During that time period, what was his relationship like with his brother?
I don't know if their relationship was, I want to say it was distant. I'll just say that it was distant. I don't remember them being close at that time.
Have you ever known them to be close while growing up?
Not necessarily growing up. I think their closeness came about recently, and I guess maturity brought them back together, and they were able to mend some things and hold on to a good relationship.
Earlier in life, did you know Mr. Quiles and his brother to have like a conflictual type of relationship?
Yes.
Can you tell me about, I guess you told me a little bit about his reconciliation with his father. How do you feel that that relationship has affected Mr. Quiles?
John is very forgiving, and when he made the decision to forgive his father, it was pure. And he did forgive him. They worked on a relationship, and like I said, he came and lived with them for a couple of months, and then he went back home. But I don't know if it made up for everything, but it was the beginning of his healing process.
And what's their relationship like now, today?
Well, it was recently before he got arrested, so I'm not sure if they have a relationship right now.
Right. What else can you tell us about John's upbringing, his background?
John had a great upbringing. As you all know, my sister was a single parent. She worked really hard to provide him the things that he needed. She was adamant about education. She had 3 degrees before she passed. He chose not to go to school, and we know why. But there was nothing she wouldn't do for him, or for Joseph, for that matter, for both of her kids. But her and John had a special bond, a really special bond.
And during their upbringing, did John's mother work quite a bit?
She did. She went to school and she worked.
As far as you mentioned about his education, that he chose not to go, and that was, I'm just using your words. Tell us about what you know of his education.
He did up to the 7th grade. Learning was not a disadvantage for him. He was very smart. He just did not want to go to school. There was nothing that he couldn't do. He comprehended well. He self-educated himself in a lot of things. So it wasn't that, I don't know if he just couldn't handle or he chose to work for his little children that he had at that time, but he was a really brilliant young man at a young age.
And so tell us about his family. You said that he had children at a young age.
He did have children at a young age. He had a boy and a girl. They were back to back. I think they're like a year and a half apart. I believe his first child was born at 15 or 16, and he worked really hard to provide for them.
And as far as his other children that came later, what do you know about his relationship like as a father to them?
He's a great father to them. He's always been a great father to his kids.
And does he maintain, as best he can, a relationship with them to this day?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about you and Mr. Quiles' relationship?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Your relationship with Mr. Quiles.
We instantly bond at birth. When he was born, he was no longer my sister's child. That was my child. We had a special bond when he was born. I took him everywhere I went. We did everything together. As he got older, I moved. I was married to a military man that traveled a lot, so I wasn't with him as often, but he'd come every duty station we went to spend time with us. When his mother died, I had promised to do my best as a mother figure for him. And when he made the choice to move over here, I was really excited because I would have him all the time. He moved here, He found himself a church home. He gave himself to the Lord, and he enjoyed life. And he's always been a positive person in my life. I've never seen him handle things in a negative way. There's never a moment if I'm sad or I'm down, he always say things to just lift me up. And he did that for his mother. Even though his mother's cancer was incurable, he always kept her spirits high.
What do you know about Mr. Quiles' work history and kind of his background, employment background?
Mr. Quiles can do anything he put his mind to. He can work on cars, he can be a carpenter, he can be a mechanic. There's nothing that he could not teach himself to do.
So on to all these skills that he self-educated himself and everything, and he wasted all of it. Messing with a minor, messing with a child, impregnating her, and then killed her. Did you happen to see the Snapchat messages? Did you see those? I mean, did you watch the trial? Did you see it? Those Snapchat messages came from him. He sent it to her. Interesting. Resume.
And he always had work. He can find work easily because he was so skillful.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your relationship has been like and what you know of him since he's been incarcerated?
Even being here for 5 years, I've never seen him sad. I've never seen him cry. He's always so uplifting. I'm the crybaby. I'll cry on.
So you never seen him cry? Sociopaths and narcissists, they don't cry. When they do, it's a struggle to get the tears out. They'll do it if it's going to benefit them, but it's not real tears. Watch a sociopath or a narcissist at a wake or a funeral. It's amazing how they act. Let's get back to it.
On the phone with him, I'm sad, I'm upset, I'm angry, and he's like, Mom, it's going to be okay. I promise you it's going to be okay. And he never loses hope, ever.
Can you tell us a little bit about, I know you have kids, correct?
I do. I have
Heard
4.
from a few of them today.
Yes.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about the family dynamics as far as your family and with Mr. Quiles?
Yes. John always says he's the firstborn, so he makes my children really jealous. So he'll say, that's my mom. No, that's my mom. I'm the firstborn. Silly things like that. But they all get along as if they were all natural brothers. They all get along. He impacted my 2 younger kids. He taught them a lot of stuff. My youngest son couldn't ride his bike for years. And John came one time, and my son's never stopped riding his bike. But no one could teach him how to ride his bike but John. So he's impacted my children in such a positive way. He was their go-to person. He would build go-karts and teach them how to ride the go-karts, show them what angles to turn, what not to do, just a lot of fun stuff. And he would educate them that education is the most important thing.
Can you share us a little bit about what Mr. Quiles means to you personally?
He's my everything. He's my light at the end of the tunnel. I go to him for everything. He always has special words for me. He always tells me, no matter what I'm going through, God is going to see me through everything. There's nothing that I can't overcome. And I look forward to hearing his voice every day. He is my connection to my late sister. My sister and him have a special bond, and I see that through him all the time. And when I see him, I see my sister. And I look forward to speaking to him every day, every opportunity that I get.
Can you tell us any other information you would like to provide to the jury today before we let you go?
Yes. I just wish everybody knew John like I knew John. John is such a warm, loving person. Everybody that comes across John have a special bond with him. He just has a natural love for people. And I just wish everybody was able to see that in him, because he's an amazing young man.
Can I have just a moment? No questions, Your Honor.
Ma'am, good to see you today. Thank you for your testimony.
Jones says, through this testimony, this confirms his cunning personality and how he always got what he wanted. Mhm. Even from innocence. Wait a minute. Innocent. You can tell that he always controlled situations until he ran into this one. Yep. I need my glasses. Yep. hmm Yep. Uh-oh. Back at you too. All right. I want to go back and look at some sort of comment here. Let me go back. This is break time. I'm gonna see if I can find the aunt, the other aunt. Nope, I'm not. I'm gonna save the aunt with when I'm gonna do the aunts. I'm gonna do a day with just the aunts. Yeah, that'll probably be tomorrow. Tomorrow evening around the same time, I will do the aunts, or maybe a little bit earlier, something like that. Around 6 something Eastern time. What else I wanted to? It was another comment. All right, Good Karma says, I get him wanting to have a harem because he clearly, what it says, I get him wanting to have a harem because he clearly wanted tons of attention. But why did he target teenage girls? R. Kelly abused girls around the age of his abuser. Mm-hmm. Yep. And what does Kay say here? Let's go back. Right. Narcissists usually become who they are due to childhood trauma or being super spoiled. Yep. See, with narcissists, how they become narcissists is something with the extreme. There was no balance in raising the child. It was either him or her was extremely spoiled, put on a pedestal. They can't do no wrong. This is my child. Roll out the carpet, that kind of thing. Or they didn't get no attention, no love. They was just basically there, like just walking around the house, like nope, like they didn't exist. It's one extreme. There was no balance, and that's when they end up turn out these type of personalities. All right, what else here? Was there something else I wanted to read? Yeah, Jones also says something else. If you think about it, the brother is the only one that had a semi-strange relationship with him when they were young. The older brother used to bully him. Exactly, I saw that. And that's the brother that was bullying him, right? Everyone else only saw the cunning side of him. All right, let me see if I can find something else. I said we're going to do the on. You know what? Let's just close out to when they told him that, yeah, let's just close out when they tell him he's not gonna. Hope I got the right part. Yep. All right, I'm gonna close out on this. We're gonna close out when they basically told him he's not gonna get the death penalty or whatever. Well, we can watch together because I didn't quite catch the ending. So let's watch this.
You guys may have a seat. So to the four of you, this officially ends your jury service with us. You are officially dismissed. I'm sorry we had to bring you back, not knowing, you just never know what's going to happen with a member of the jury, so we wanted to make every effort. We brought it to conclusion this week. Even though you couldn't serve and be in the deliberation room, please don't think that your service is any less, that we are less while his father was absent from his life. 4, Johnathan Quiles was, you should find the kind of crime intended to be included as especially heinous, atrocious, or
assessment determined to be true, even if then is appropriate. It is a sufficient
possible punishments. 1, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, or 2, death.
I'm sorry, ladies. Y'all keep.
First unanimously determined
I'm just
what the
trying to
aggravating factors alleged by the state
find the
have been
part.
proven beyond a reasonable doubt. An aggravating factor is a circumstance that increases the gravity of a crime or the harm to a victim. No facts other than proven aggravating factors may be considered in support of a death sentence. The aggravating factors alleged by the state are as follows. Please note that the following aggravating factors apply to both counts 1 and 2 unless otherwise noted. 1, Johnathan Quiles was previously convicted of another capital felony or a felony involving the use of threats of violence to another person. First-degree murder is a capital felony. The crime of sexual battery is a felony involving the use or threat of violence to another person. 2, the first-degree murder was committed for the purpose of avoiding or preventing a lawful arrest. 3, the first-degree murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. This applies only to count 1. Heinous means extremely wicked or shockingly evil. Atrocious means outrageously wicked and vile. Cruel means designed to inflict a high degree of pain with utter indifference to, or even enjoyment of, the suffering of others. The kind of crime intended to be included as especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel is one accompanied by additional acts that show that the crime was conscienceless or pitiless and was unnecessarily torturous to IS. 4. The first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner, without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Cold means the murder was the product of calm and cool reflection. Calculated means having a careful plan or prearranged design to commit murder. A killing is premeditated if it occurs after the defendant consciously decides to kill. The decision must be present in the mind at the time of the killing. The law does not fix the exact period of time that must pass between the formation of the premeditated intent to kill and the killing. The period of time must be long enough to allow reflection by the defendant. The premeditated intent to kill must be formed before the killing. However, in order for this aggravating factor to apply, a heightened level of premeditation demonstrated by a substantial period of reflection is required. A pretense of moral or legal justification is any claim of justification or excuse that, though insufficient to reduce the degree of murder, nevertheless rebuts the otherwise cold, calculated, or premeditated nature of the murder. 5. The unborn child of IS was a person less than 12 years of age. This applies only to count 2. 6. IS was particularly vulnerable because Johnathan Quiles stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over IS. This applies to count 1. The unborn child of IS was particularly vulnerable because Johnathan Quiles stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over the unborn child of IS. This applies to count 2. The state has the burden of proving an aggravating factor beyond a reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt is not a mere possible doubt, a speculative, imaginary, or forced doubt. Such a doubt must not influence you to disregard an aggravating factor if you have an abiding conviction that it exists. On the other hand, if, after carefully considering, comparing, and weighing all the evidence, you do not have an abiding conviction that the aggravating factor exists, or if having a conviction, it is one which is not stable, but one which wavers and vacillates, then the aggravating factor has not been proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and you must not consider it in providing a verdict. A reasonable doubt as to the existence of an aggravating factor may arise from the evidence, in conflict in the evidence, or the lack of evidence. If you have a reasonable doubt as to the existence of an aggravating factor, you must find that it does not exist. However, if you have no reasonable doubt, you should find the aggravating factor does exist. A finding that an aggravating factor exists must be unanimous. That is, all of you must agree that each presented aggravating factor exists. You will be provided with a form to make this finding as to each alleged aggravating factor, and you should indicate whether or not you find each aggravating factor has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. If you do not unanimously find that at least one aggravating factor was proven by the state beyond a reasonable doubt, then the defendant is not eligible for the death penalty, and your verdict must be for a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. At such point, your deliberations are complete. If, however, you unanimously find that one or more aggravating factors have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, then the defendant is eligible for the death penalty, and you must next determine whether the appropriate sentence to be imposed is life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or death. First, each of you must determine whether any mitigating circumstances exist. A mitigating circumstance is not limited to the facts surrounding the crime. A mitigating circumstance may include any aspect of the defendant's character, background, life, or any circumstance of the offense that may indicate the death penalty is not appropriate in this case. It is the defendant's burden to prove that one or more mitigating circumstances exist. Mitigating circumstances do not need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Instead, the defendant need only establish a mitigating circumstance by the greater weight of the evidence, which means evidence that more likely than not tends to establish the existence of a mitigating circumstance. If you determine by the greater weight of the evidence that a mitigating circumstance exists, you must consider it established and give that evidence such weight as you determine it should receive in reaching your verdict about the appropriate sentence to be imposed. Any juror persuaded as to the existence of a mitigating circumstance must consider it in this case. Among the mitigating circumstances you may consider are as follows. 1. Johnathan Quiles has no significant history of prior criminal activity. 2. Johnathan Quiles' age at the time of the crime. 3. Johnathan Quiles was raised by his mother while his father was absent from his life. 4. Johnathan Quiles was 33 years old at the time of the offense. 5. Johnathan Quiles began using marijuana at the age of 12. 6. Johnathan Quiles lived with his mother, but she was never present in his life and always worked. 7. Johnathan Quiles' mother's boyfriend abused him. 8. Johnathan Quiles was forced to drop out of school at a young age to take care of his child. 9. Johnathan Quiles went to drug rehab at the age of 15. 10. Johnathan Quiles began to work at age 15 to care for and contribute to his family and was unable to finish school. 11. There were no men in Mr. Quiles' mother's life on a regular basis. She had short relationships with men and her boyfriend abused him. 12. Johnathan Quiles' brother regularly bullied him. 13.
Boo
Johnathan Quiles' mother is
hoo.
deceased and his only relatable family is his aunt and cousin. 14.
Bring out the
Johnathan Quiles
violins.
was raised by his mother in a high crime area. 15.
Everybody
Johnathan
pull out the
Quiles fathered a
violin.
child at the age
Yeah,
of
bring
15
out
and
the
had to work to
violins for
provide
this
his
guy.
child. 16. Johnathan Quiles had a poor relationship with his father, and he was absent from his life. 17. Johnathan Quiles' father was absent from his life, and his mother used corporal punishment. 18. Johnathan Quiles' IQ test is above average intelligence despite dropping out of school at a young age. 19. Johnathan Quiles does not have any known cognitive or neuropsychological deficits. 20. Johnathan Quiles has a history of alcohol and cannabis abuse. 21. Johnathan Quiles has a dysfunctional family background. 22. Johnathan Quiles has one brother.
We all come from
23.
dysfunctional
Johnathan
backgrounds.
Quiles has a close relationship with his aunt and cousin. 24. Johnathan Quiles has a loving relationship with his 5 children. 25. After Johnathan Quiles dropped out of school, he had to take care of himself and his children. While his mother lent support, he had to take care of responsibilities causing him to leave the family home. 26. Johnathan Quiles was a hard and dedicated worker. 27. Johnathan Quiles has no disciplinary reports while in jail since his arrest. 28. Johnathan Quiles worked as a trustee in the jail. The final step in the process is for each of you to determine whether the defendant should be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole or death. In making your decision about whether the defendant should be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole or death, you must weigh the following factors. 1. Whether sufficient aggravating factors exist. And 2. Whether the proven aggravating factors outweigh the proven mitigating circumstances. The process of weighing aggravating factors and mitigating circumstances is not a mechanical or mathematical process. In other words, you should not merely total the number of aggravating factors and compare that number to the total number of mitigating circumstances. The law contemplates that different factors or circumstances may be given different weight or values by different jurors. Therefore, in your decision-making process, each individual juror must decide
There's
what
somebody's
weight is
life
given to a
that's
particular
twice as hard as
aggravating factor
yours,
or
but they don't
mitigating
go around
circumstance.
doing this stuff.
Regardless of the results of each juror's individual weighing process, even if you conclude that the sufficient aggravators outweigh the mitigators, the law neither compels nor requires you to recommend that the defendant should be sentenced to death. If fewer than 8 jurors vote to the death penalty, your recommendation must be for life in prison without the possibility of parole. If 8 or more jurors vote for the death penalty, your recommendation must be for the death penalty. You will be provided with a form to reflect your decisions. The fact that the jury can make its decision on a single ballot should not influence you to act hastily or without due regard to the gravity of these proceedings. Before you vote, you should carefully consider and weigh the evidence, realizing that a human life is at stake, and bring your best judgment to bear in reaching your decisions. When considering the aggravating factors and mitigating circumstances, it is up to you to decide which evidence is reliable. You should use your common sense in deciding which is the best evidence and which evidence should not be relied upon in making your decision as to what sentence should be imposed. You may find some of the evidence not reliable or less reliable than other evidence. You should consider how the witnesses acted as well as what they said. Some things you should consider are: did the witness seem to have an opportunity to see and know the things about which the witness testified? Did the witness seem to have an accurate memory? Was the witness honest and straightforward in answering the attorney's questions? Did the witness have some interest in how the case should be decided? Does the witness's testimony agree with the other testimony and other evidence in the case? The fact that a witness is employed in law enforcement does not mean that his or her testimony deserves more or less consideration than that of any other witness. Expert witnesses are like other witnesses, with one exception. The law permits an expert witness to give her opinion. However, an expert's opinion is reliable only when given on a subject about which you believe her to be an expert. Like other witnesses, you may believe or disbelieve all or any part of an expert's testimony. It is entirely proper for a lawyer to talk to a witness about what testimony the witness would give if called to the courtroom. The witness should not be discredited by talking to a lawyer about their testimony. You may rely upon your own conclusion about the credibility of any witness. A juror may believe or disbelieve all or any part of the evidence or the testimony of any witness. There are some general rules that apply to your discussion. You must follow these rules in order to return a lawful verdict. You must follow the law as it is set out in these instructions. If you fail to follow the law, your verdict will be a miscarriage of justice. There is no reason for failing to follow the law in this case. All of us are depending upon you to make a wise and legal decision in this matter. This case must be decided only upon the evidence that you have heard from the testimony of the witnesses and have seen in the form of the exhibits and evidence and these instructions. The case must not be decided for or against anyone because you feel sorry for anyone or are angry at anyone. Remember, the lawyers are not on trial. Your feelings about them should not influence your decision in this case. Your decisions should not be influenced by feelings of prejudice, bias, or sympathy. Your verdict must be based on the evidence and the law contained in these instructions. The verdict must be in writing, and for your convenience, the necessary forms have been prepared for you. They are as follows. There's 2 forms. Each form is 3 pages, one form for count 1, one form for count 3. It's slightly different than the last one you had last week, but all those very similar. The one I'm holding right now is one for count 1. As you can see at the top, it has the aggravating factors, and it goes through each aggravating factor for that count alleged by the state. And it says, we the jury unanimously find that the state has proven the following aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt as to the defendant, Johnathan Quiles, in this case. And then you go down each aggravating factor and you check yes or no. That has to be a unanimous decision by all 12 of you on the jury panel. And remember, there's 5 per count, 6 total. If you check, and then on the next page, it tells you if you, the jury, answered no to every aggravating factor listed, you've completed your deliberations. The foreperson should sign and date the form at the end of the form. If you, the jury, answered yes to any aggravating factor listed, then you go to section B, which is on page 3. And section B is on the last page. It goes through the instructions that you are supposed to go through, that weighing process that was talked about. And then at the very bottom, it tells you how to return your verdict in that regard. And then the foreperson signs and dates it. That's the same process for count 2 as well. In just a few moments, you'll be taken to the jury room by the bailiff. The first thing you should do is choose a foreperson who will preside over your deliberations. The foreperson should see to it that your discussions are carried on in an organized way and that everyone has a fair chance to be heard. It is also the foreperson's job to sign and date the verdict forms when all of you have agreed on a verdict and to bring the verdict forms back to the courtroom when you returned. During deliberations, jurors must communicate about this case only with one another and only when all jurors.
I'm trying to find the ending. It's when they make the decision. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. And I also forgot to play SS on the stand. We have to do SS. We have to play her because it was.
So members of the panel,
She said she
this is what I did last
engaged.
week, on Thursday. It's about 4:20. We'll be here until you guys tell us otherwise. If you guys want to break for the day and come back tomorrow morning, that's perfectly fine. Just let us know, and we'll bring you back tomorrow morning. When you guys what I thought was a profound speech a couple weeks ago regarding jury service and what it means. I am incredibly grateful for your service. But with that said, I'm sure you don't want to hear me talk anymore. You guys are officially dismissed. I feel like I know you guys. You guys may have a seat. So to the 4 of you, this officially ends your jury service with us. You are officially dismissed.
Am I doing something
sorry
wrong
about
here?
that, not knowing, you just never know what's going to happen with a member of the jury, so we wanted to.
They did. They made a decision, correct, ladies and gentlemen? They made a decision. They said he's not going to get the death penalty, correct? Let me know in the chat. I know I heard it.
We are less grateful for your service. It is to be here for 11 days is a monumental task. Be away from your family.
Yes, Amber, I heard her when she was on the stand. She said she engaged. She said it's sad that she lost her sister. She won't be the matron honor at her wedding. Yep, she said that. Ooh, I know he mad. He mad. You mad, ain't you? You mad. Get over it. Okay, so I am correct. No, I don't understand why I'm not. You know what? Let's not even focus on. All right, everybody knows about that. Let's find SS. I know I found it. I think it's over here because the aunt is done. We're gonna save the aunt when I do the aunt day. All right, let's watch from here.
Come back and get credit for the work you've put in at Purdue Global. With your
Was that her that passed with the green? Yeah, this is it. This is it.
Good morning. Watch your step. If you need a glass of water, let Mr. Gray know. Certainly
I
accommodate you.
hope.
Amy, and quiet, you're ready.
You just please reintroduce yourself to the jury.
Samaya Sawyer.
And are you the sister of Iyana Sawyer?
Yes.
And did you provide a victim impact evidence statement?
Yes.
And Ms. Sawyer, will you please read it verbatim to the jury?
Yes. From now until the day I perish, there will always be an element of my life that will be permanently missing. That element is Iyana Sawyer. Our lives were so intertwined, everywhere we went, we were asked if we were twins. In fact, you would rarely see one Sawyer sister without the other. However, now you would never see me or my sister together. Iyana was my older little sister. She was so childish she could make you laugh at the most inappropriate times, but that's what made her so special. She was the beam of sunlight that could peek through a hurricane. We could be grounded all weekend, and yet she would still make it feel like it was a normal day. Iyana was extremely intelligent. She wanted to be a pediatrician. We planned on going to college and becoming physicians together. We planned our lives around each other so much, we even decided that each of us would live on opposite sides of the riverwalk with apartments facing each other. Unfortunately now, I'm completing those same milestones by myself. With every accomplishment bringing great sadness. For every congratulations, the thought that I should not be my mother's first child to graduate, attend college, or move into an apartment crosses my mind. It's extremely difficult to step into my childhood bedroom and see one bed where there used to be two. Every loving memory that I have of my sister has always been overshadowed by the fact that memories will be all that I can carry with me in life. I'm always saddened by the fact that I will never be able to hear her voice, argue over whose shirts is whose, know her daughter Hazel, or see the beautiful woman and mother she would have become. After the announcement of my sister's disappearance and death, school became another place of torment for me. Every day, people who I have never met, who I have never seen before, would approach me and ask if that dead girl was my sister. There would be times where I would randomly have to leave school to go downtown to the police station. There were so many occasions where there was little to no notice, and most instances I would be there late into the night. Still, even that did not compare to the misery I endured within those school walls. There would be days where I could not fathom the thought of walking through school doors. On those days, I would sit in the car until the end of the school day and just cry. However, when the 2 o'clock bell rang, I had to compose myself as if I was not in disarray, so my younger brother did not see the mental instability the situation has forced upon me, as I now have to be their source of comfort, just as Iyana was for me. On numerous occasions, the dismissal process from school would be a battle in itself, as media stations would linger to report their stories on my sister's disappearance. Throughout the time Iyana has been gone, day by day, individuals have questioned my mother's parenting. It's very difficult as a teenager to see those who have only read about my mother's question how she raised my siblings and I. Might I add, my mother was and is still an exceptional mother. I remember nights seeing my mother crying on her closet floor, blaming herself for Iyana's devastating loss. There's nothing that I can do ever to lift that burden from my mother, but assure her that it was not her hands that caused Iyana to no longer walk this earth with us. As if it was yesterday, there will always be an image ingrained in my mind of my mother walking through the front door with bloodshot eyes. That was the night my brothers and I were informed of Iyana's passing. Seeing my mother never agree to make sure that her children could grieve will forever weigh heavy on my heart. As I think about how my family has changed forever, I think about how my fiancé would never meet the sister I speak so highly of. My sister would not be my bridesmaid at my wedding,
Fiancé.
or the fact that our eyes. That was the night my brothers and I were informed of Iyana's passing. Seeing my mother never agree to make sure that her children could grieve will forever weigh heavy on my heart. As I think about how my family has changed forever, I think about how my
I had to rewind. Yep, I know it's kind of fast. Let's go back a little bit. Yep, sound like to me, Jax. You said fiance. Let's get it.
devastating loss. There's nothing that I can do ever to lift that burden from my mother, but assure her that it was not her hands that caused Iyana to no longer walk this earth with us. As if it was yesterday, there will always be an image ingrained in my mind of my mother walking through the front door with bloodshot eyes. That was the night my brothers and I were informed of Iyana's passing. Seeing my mother never agree to make sure that her children could grieve will forever weigh heavy on my heart. As I think about how my family has changed forever, I think about how my fiancé would never meet the sister I speak so highly of. My sister would not be my bridesmaid at my wedding, or the fact that our future children will never be able to play together. My family will forever have an empty space that can never be filled by anything or anyone. Some nights I have vivid dreams of my sister, as if it was a normal day that we would spend together, but then I am forced to open my eyes and realize that it will only ever be a dream. All I can ever do is cry and wait for the day I will see her again. Then there are other nights where nightmares are endless. The disappearance of my sister has caused me a great deal of mental instability. I just can't understand how someone who is loved and caring like herself can be thrown away as if they were trash, as if they meant absolutely nothing to anyone. Iyana was loved. Hazel was loved. Iyana was my compass whenever I felt lost. She was my best friend. There was a point where I could not fathom going through life without her, but I know she would not want me to be anything less than great in life. There's not a day where I don't miss her or cannot stop replaying her smile in my mind. What I would give to have just one more day with her. Even if we are arguing throughout the entire day, I would be extremely grateful. I never take into consideration the phrase, you never know what you have until it's gone. Until I was informed that Iyana will forever be gone, as it was then that I learned that half of me will forever be gone. Though she would never have a resting place, her loving memories will forever rest within my heart.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Nothing from the defense.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
I think two people asked the question. No, they never did find her body, unfortunately. They never did. And I'm going to tomorrow I'm going to play the aunties, and then Wednesday I'll get into the wiretap. We can listen to him, the way he talked about how the body's decomposed. Oh my gosh, it's sick. But what was I leading to? I was going to lead to something. Oh, this young girl here. I don't know how old is she. Is she, 19, 20 now? I just pray that this girl went and seek some therapy, because what she went through with this monster before she sits here and get, engaged to this guy and get in this relationship. I hope she went to some therapy, still going to therapy, talk it out and find out. And then plus therapy, because you lost your sister, your other half, your best friend, your sister. That's a lot. Okay, well, that's just about all I'm going to end on here. She's not engaged. She was talking about the few. You should have said, did it say her fiance? It sounded like it, Kathy. She said, my fiance. She didn't say, in the future when I get married and, I wish my sister was there. Sound like to me she said fiance. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. He's getting life with no parole. They did not give him the death penalty. Extremely sad. She will never have a resting place. Yep. That is sad. This whole thing is just so sad. The Wire, what convicted him, I believe. Oh, yeah. That Wire did it. And then his brother just sealed the deal. That was it. I know defense was like, I don't know how we're going to work around this, but he says he wants to be innocent, so we got to figure out something. That's how it goes. So sad, so sad. All right, ladies, I'm going to end now. May everybody have themselves a blessed and a great night, and thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging, and I forgot to read the poll. Let me read the poll before I let y'all go. All right, we got 68 votes. Come on, could have been more votes here. All right. Did you want him to get the death penalty? 34% says, no way, life is good enough. All right. 51%, of course, Donna. And 16% says, I'm against the death penalty. Yeah, I'm kind of not really for the death penalty myself either. Nah. No. Let him suffer. Okay, that's just the end of it. Everybody have themselves a blessed night and a safe one, and stay tuned for some more of Donna Just Being Real. And remember, date smart, not thirsty. Ladies, watch out for these slick hair, wavy hair dudes and stuff. Yeah, watch out. Watch out for Mr. Charmer. And men, watch out for the women with the big butt and the smile. Yep, you could be laying down with a narcissist or a sociopath, Satan's daughter or Satan Jr. Yep, I said it. Adios. Bye.